Hi, welcome to the Arsenal Fans Focus TV. This podcast is all about you, the fans. Your passion, your opinions, and for the love of the game, take center stage. My name is Pat the Gooner, and I'm going to be joined by Adam and Jake. We're going to be talking about the Arsenal. The Gunners are unbeaten in 4 games. 3 wins, 1 draw. I'll be asking, are Arsenal flying? Are they on the right track? Do we have the best squad in the Premier League? Let's dive in. Hi, welcome. How you doing, Adam?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Pat. How are you?
Doing good, mate. How you doing, Jake?
Yes, mate. Been better, but yeah, all good.
Good, yeah. Mate, everyone in the chat, someone's just done something to his legs. All right. I want him to tell you. What did you do to your legs, Jake?
I thought I was a young gun still, and I've ruptured my Achilles, which is very painful and very
I
embarrassing.
think you got tackled by a Tottenham supporter.
Never that. They won't get close to me, but well, they probably would now. But not so good. But,
Look, all right. I want to talk about Arsenal's last 4 games. I mean, Arsenal's flying. I mean, this is what I'll call it. As they're flying. 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw. I mean, Adam, are Arsenal? I'm going to ask you first, Adam. Are Arsenal flying? Or are they just doing okay?
Somewhere in between, I'd say. I think there's been some kind of bitty performances, but there's been some very good stuff as well. So I think flying's probably a little bit strong, but I think when you conceded 1 goal from open play the whole season, it's not far off flying. I think we're very close to clicking. I think there's been some really good signs, and I think that we're going to absolutely wallop a team soon. I think we are. Every game's getting a little bit better, and there's great signs. I think we are very close to it, but I think the fact that we're not at full pelt yet, and I think we're 2 points off the top of the table, 2 Champions League wins through in the Carabao Cup. I mean, it says a lot. I said it before. The things we used to moan about was kind of trying to get near the top 4, heavy defeats away. Now, if this is a bad run, then bring on the good run, because say this, if you look at it on paper, it's been a great start, really. So I just think there's a few tweaks to happen and a few things that will click into place, but the signs are all good.
Same question to you, Jake.
Yeah, I think obviously last 4 games we've all had slightly different performances in each one. I was slightly worried about the Man City performance in particular. But overall, I think we're just being very professional in the way we're doing things. And obviously clean sheets go a very, very long way. So when we're not necessarily performing at our best, if we still nick it 1-0, 2-0, and it's not pretty, I'm still going to be happy with that. And as Adam said, we've only conceded 1 from open play at the minute. So, Man City was a little worrying. I felt like we could have really gone for it. And then, as I said, I'm sure we'll delve into the performances in each game. But there's been positives and some negatives to take. But overall, very, very happy. And I think we're on the upturn rather than going the other way, shall we say.
Sorry about that, boys. I just pulled out the wrong thing there, because what I want to talk about first is dive into the first the City game first. And obviously it was a 1-1 draw. City scored first, Haaland, and then I forgot his name now. Martinelli came off the bench. Stop his time goal. I'm just trying to think. Arsenal had more shots. They kept fighting. Again, like I said, Martinelli came off the bench and he saved us a point. Adam, sorry to interrupt. I think we need to start with the starting lineup with that, because when we were in the pub just before and the starting lineup came out, I don't know how Adam felt, but
Yeah, I wasn't really happy seeing Trossard on the left. I just felt like we had a real opportunity to really go for it, and I think was it Marino came in as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just felt sorry, Pat. I just felt like we had a real opportunity to go for that game, and we just obviously Haaland hit us early with that early goal. But performance-wise, we just weren't at the races at all. I didn't think. Obviously, great for Martinelli to come on and get the goal at the end, but yeah, I think it was just a very frustrating day. Obviously, saved at the end. Everyone loves a last-minute equaliser or winner, but yeah, I felt like we could have really took advantage that day.
Okay, so that's all right. Well, we can't. I was going to ask Adam the same thing, but Adam, please answer what Jake just said about the lineup. Is something were you?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Well?
I was surprised. I wasn't massively surprised to see Marino in the lineup, but I was surprised to see that Trossard was ahead of Martinelli and Eze. Martinelli had the Bilbao performance ready to come on. I know Trossard had come on and played a part in it as well, but Martinelli was quite electric when he came on. And I think when you sign a player like Eze, you think it's going to be for the big home games, the big ones where it's going to be try and unlock a defence in a tight game where it's going to be kind of quite, there can be one or two big chances. And that was the big surprise. And I think universally everyone was like, why is Eze not starting? You can argue the toss about whether he started the number 10. He played on the left, but I know I think where Arteta was very defensive, like in his response, not actually in the lineup, was saying about Marino is not a defensive midfielder, and I agree with that. He has scored goals. We played him up front last year, but it did feel a little bit clunky at the midfield, and that's the difference. I think as much as he is a more attacking midfielder than people give him credit for, Marino, it felt like the creativity from an assist point of view or the passing point of view just went out the side without Eze in there, especially with Odegaard missing. I think that made it all the more surprising. I think City did a number on us, if I'm honest. Again, it's one of those ones, if you look at football's stats, you look at those stats alone, you go, Arsenal battered City. Again, possession-wise, chances, like it didn't feel like that on the day, though. I think, City did what we do to them at the Etihad sometimes. And they took a lot of stick, Pep kind of, never seen him so defensive. But I've said it on here before. I always think Arsenal at their best when teams have a go at us. And City kind of for the first time decided not to have a go at us. And they showed us a lot of respect because with Guardiola at times, I think they've always felt that they're a better side than whoever they play against. It's the first time I've seen Guardiola come to the Emirates and go, right, Arsenal are probably a better footballing side of us at the moment, so we're going to go and be tight. And everything about it, we just couldn't deal with it. Like we were lucky to get out there with a point, despite the kind of 70% possession and stuff. And it, as Jake said, it didn't feel like it was ever going to really come. And it was a weird performance. And I think it will be a big point. And it looks a bigger point now that Liverpool lost at Palace, especially when City won comfortably at the weekend. It does feel like a bigger point than it did at the time. And I think it will stand us a good stead. But it wasn't a great performance really, and it was very predictable, and it was a hard watch, actually. It wasn't great.
Okay, so what did you get from it, from that whole game, Jake? What did you get from it? What did you?
I think overall, as Adam says now, in hindsight now, is probably a great point, and the fact that we didn't lose, and we fought to the end, and obviously Martinelli got that great. It was a great finish, to be fair to Martinelli, especially when Donnarumma's in goal and he's such a presence. But yeah, at the time I was very frustrated coming away from there because I just felt like, it's back to square one. We weren't really showing any signs. I think we just played Bilbao, and I thought that was a proper good professional performance. And I felt like we could have gone on and done a number on Man City. But yeah, it's probably half Man City's fault because they didn't probably come out and attack us as we probably expected they should. And they sat on that early goal from Haaland. But yeah, I think it took the wind out of the sails with the starting lineup a little bit because everyone was saying Eze should be starting that sort of game for us. But overall, looking back now, obviously, we can't just expect to roll over teams. So at home, I want to see big performances and I want to see us putting away teams. But Man City are still a good team at the end of the day. So,
Adam, were we lucky or did we deserve it?
I think we just about deserved the point on the balance of play. I think we were a little bit lucky, because I think City were very comfortable. One lapse in concentration and one bit of brilliance from Eze was unlocked the door a little bit, but it didn't really ever look like we were going to score. Donnarumma made 2 fairly comfortable saves. He claimed a lot of crosses, but like it wasn't like with 70% possession, you're expecting 5 or 6 big chances or a couple of great saves from the keeper to keep you in it. And they looked comfortable. And City, this season they haven't looked comfortable defensively. If you look at them, Spurs obviously turned them over at the Etihad. They lost. They conceded 2 last night. Burnley scored up there last week. So it wasn't like some teams that you think Newcastle can come in. They're very tight defensively. You think if Newcastle put 10 men behind the ball, they'd be hard to break down. City shouldn't really be like that. They're not really used to doing that, and we made it easy for them. We made it very predictable. And for that reason, I think we were a little bit lucky. And it did take something a little bit kind of different, a quick early ball from Eze to get in behind. Because I was sitting there with about 15 minutes to go and thinking this isn't happening today. And it just felt like a 1-0 defeat would have been, I think there was a lot of analysis on it afterwards, but had it stayed 1-0, it'd have been even worse.
I think the major thing was that we lacked so much creativity. We didn't know where it was coming from. And for Eze to come on, he's played a few similar balls like that and just finding players' feet early doors. So happy for him to come on.
So do you guys feel that the squad is gelling? Do you think that it's the balance is right now, or do you think it's still?
I think we're moving in.
Worried about it?
I think the last couple of performances, Olympiacos was a bit of a stinker, don't get me wrong, but Newcastle especially, I felt like certain players really stepped up and we are starting to click and starting to find some partnerships. But we'll get into that. But
okay,
I think we're moving in the right direction.
Sorry, you want to say something, Adam?
No, I agree with Jake. I think it is gelling, and I think it's a weird one. We'll come on to Newcastle, but again, even like Gyökeres, again, if you look at football just for stats, you'd go Gyökeres' best performance of the season was probably Leeds at home. Now, I think Newcastle away was his best performance. And sometimes with football, sometimes you say it's especially social media these days, it's very much goals and assists. You do look at like people like Florian Wirtz, they're getting a lot of stick for it, but I've got more out of Gyökeres' last 2 performances than I did probably the first 5 or 6. Like he's kind of, I'm really excited about him going into kind of West Ham, the Burnley, Sunderland, Palaces, on the basis of I think he's starting to look really comfortable and he's starting to get an understanding with people like Saka and Eze and Zubamendi, and it's just, I think players are clicking now, and I think the formation's looking dangerous, and I think we played some. I think people kind of belittle Olympiacos. They're the Greek champions. It's a Champions League game. Newcastle away, not many people go and win out there comfortably. And City, we've not really had an easy game apart from Port Vale in that run, and Port Vale obviously was a rotation. So I think the signs are there for, no disrespect to some of the teams we've got coming up. When you've got kind of like teams like Burnley, Sunderland, West Ham, you should be able to show a little bit more of that cohesion in those games now.
Okay, but just before we move on to, because we're going to move on to Port Vale in a minute, but I want to quickly just start. There's something I want to get your opinions on, but what some people are saying is that it's not Gyökeres' fault. It's the way the system is being played, or what they're saying as well is that he is open. He's moving around. He's moved up. He's beating players. He's finding openings, but he's not getting the ball quick enough at his feet.
I think he's becoming like Havertz as well, as far as like he's knowing what he's improving every game for us, and we're as a team we're starting to find him a bit more. But as we'll get on to in Newcastle, what he was doing at Newcastle as far as linking up play, fighting for the ball. Obviously, he didn't get his goal or the assist or whatever it may be, which he'll be judged on at the end of the season. Don't get me wrong, but that performance that he put in showed me that he is ready and he's on his way. He's doing.
I absolutely agree. And one of the things what give me heart and give me positivity towards him. And when you do look at him, he's not only working to get that ball, but he's working hard off the ball as well. And when I was at the game, I mean, I'm going a bit forward, but we'll talk about that. But when I was at the game last night, you can see that he's open and he's calling for the ball. Now, there was one point, and I'll talk about it in a bit, when Erdegaard, I mean, I'm glad he's back, but there's Erdegaard, it was taking too long with the ball. He's taking too many touches with the ball, and he was open. All he had to do, give the ball to him. He was open. Our people were screaming. I was screaming. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. And what did Erdegaard do? He passed it on somewhere else, and that was wrong because he was open. Now, is that a criticism? No, I just think it's. I think it's about working together, understanding each other's movements. But he is open. He's very good in. When it comes to one-on-one or man marking him, it's not a problem because he's always open. That's my criticism. That's my only little criticism of that. But that's just
the only thing I'd say about that is I think obviously with Odegaard to keep having these injuries and he hasn't really played a lot with Gyökeres. I think Eze's played a bit more with him, and you can start to see the Eze and Gyökeres link up more recently. But I think with the more confidence Odegaard gets, and obviously that was probably one of his better games this season, if not his best. I think over time with Gyökeres improving as well, I think it's all going to move in the right direction for us.
Okay, well, I honestly generally hope so with that because he's sorry, I'm just trying to find something. Because he is. I mean, he's ready. He's 100% ready to put that ball in the back of the net. Now, whether he gets it, that's another story. Okay, well, look, let's just move on to. No, I didn't want because I wanted to show some stats on. On the City game, and see what you guys thought about this. Like, it's just you have to just bear with me a sec. Where is that stat? I think I've just lost it here. Have I? City. Well, let's just use this one. I wasn't going to use this one here, but let's just use this one for now. And if you guys can see that for now. I mean, we've got what we can quickly see there is shots off target 6. That's Arsenal, and shots off targets for City.
I didn't feel like there was a number of shots in that game, to be honest.
Sorry?
I said it didn't really feel like there was a number of clear-cut chances in that game. I think.
Right. I mean, this time we're looking at. It's got total shots. Arsenal 12 and City 5.
Yeah, well, that didn't feel like that at all. I think Man City probably had the clearer-cut chances, to be honest.
What? So you think these stats are wrong? Then is that what you're saying?
The stats are wrong. I'm just saying if you had a look at those 12 shots, they wouldn't be as clear-cut or as well. You probably expected Man City to finish a lot more than the chances they had.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're underestimating Arsenal there a bit. I don't think so. I mean, because
we dominated the game, but we didn't do much with how many. There weren't many clear-cut chances in that game, Pat.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
Man City put their chances.
City put all their men behind the ball at half time.
Yeah, they were 1-0 up. They were 1-0 up, and they obviously respected us, but they had the clearer chances. I don't know what Adam thinks, but
I agree. I think for me, this was the perfect game about how stats.
They had the most clearer chances.
Yeah, I think they. I agree with Jake. Doku had a big chance second half, when he kind of jinked his way through, and I think there was a couple of their final balls. If they got their final ball right, we'd have been 2-0 down. I think Doku was probably at fault for a couple of those, actually. I think this is the perfect game of why stats don't always tell the full story, as I said before, because, you look at that, and if you didn't watch the game, you go, God, Jesus, how have Arsenal not won that game? Now, City and Arsenal have done this away as well. We've been on the other end of these stats and gone, we deserve to win that game because you didn't hurt us, basically. You did nothing. I think, when we went to the Etihad last year and drew 2-2 up there with the 10 men, we probably didn't come out of our half in the second half, but City created nothing until the goal. We were really comfortable, and for me, that was they did the reverse on us this year. And those stats, as Jake said, that. I mean, that is everything there. The expected goals there, Pat, as you said, for all that possession, we got less than one expected goal in that whole match. And that for me, that's a clear indication of how well we played. We had a lot of the ball. Probably pot shots from 25 yards out that were blocked. Donnarumma had a couple of fairly comfortable ones. And I remember the Madueke one first half. And it just felt like that. It felt like it was one of those ones where...
Look at the big chances one. I think that sums it up.
One big chance, with all that possession.
One big chance.
I mean, what you mean between both of us?
Just one big chance for Arsenal, like, you know,
Yeah,
with
and
all
one
the
big
possession.
chance for City.
Yeah, but they didn't have any possession, as Jake said. Like, you know, if you're going to have no possession, you're probably not going to have big chances. And City, as I say, City at 1-0 were never needing to go at us even further, because they literally they looked at the blueprint of Arsenal and gone, they struggle against low blocks, and they had something to defend, and we did struggle to break it down. And that's where we had real trouble last season. You know, with, I said, the teams that we dropped points against, Everton we didn't score at home against, West Ham we didn't score at home against. Those teams that came, and you look at the, you know, who was managing the you know, like the David Moyes kind of style, you know, sides at the time, and you know, they were coming and they were very difficult to beat. And that's where we struggled, and Pep's never done that before, and he got criticised for it. And I don't know why he got criticised, because I say it's the first, last year they got spanked 5-1 at the Emirates, and this year they got a 1-1, and they should have won the game, in my opinion.
I think Donnarumma was the big just his presence at the back as well. I think didn't help us, but
Okay. So, but overall, I mean, I'm not going to ask individual. Overall, what do you give the team out of 10?
For me, it was a 6. For me, City was a 6 in the fact of, like, they're a big team. They're still a good side, and we got a point out of it, and we dominated possession. I just think the lack of creativity made it a 6, because it was predictable.
What, that's 6 for Arsenal. That's what
6
you're saying,
for Arsenal. It was a predictable performance. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say
predictable.
I think the manager got this starting lineup wrong.
Who? Arsenal got the start. Arsenal's manager.
Yeah, I think Arteta got the starting lineup wrong, and obviously the early goal made us we were chasing the game. Whereas so I'm
going to ask this then. So is it? So do you agree that he put his foot on the brakes then?
No, I just think he just chose the wrong personnel for that particular game.
But that's what people are. I mean, let me ask Adam. Do you feel that he put his foot on the brakes?
No, I don't think he put his foot on the brake. I agree with Jake. I think it was the selection that people didn't expect. You can't look at Trossard and Marino and say they're any more defensive than Eze, in my opinion. Maybe Marino in the midfield, but in the centre midfield. And you can't say put him on the brakes when you have 65% possession and you dominate the game. I think at that point, then you've dominated. But I think I wouldn't say it was putting the foot on the brake. It was the lack of someone that can make that incisive final pass, and that was where we missed Eze.
Okay. Well, it's either because you're not saying any different from what other people are saying, but what people are saying that he put his foot on the brakes because of the lineup that he put out. But you're trying to say it a different way.
Talk sport. Come on, Pat. You know that.
No. That's not. But no. You keep saying about talk sport. I do not listen to talk sport. I really don't. I don't even like the people on talk sport. That's one thing about me. I've heard certain things. If I'm doing some research and I see certain things, what YouTube say, all right, that pees me off. So I don't listen to talk sport. But I have been hearing. Obviously, I'm hearing from different people, different sources. But you're just saying different. What you're saying is that the lineup that he put out wasn't the right lineup, but you're not saying he's put his foot on the brakes.
I don't think you can say. I don't think you can say.
You are saying that he put out the wrong lineup and put his hands on the brakes.
I don't think it's putting the foot on the brake. I think when you're playing Trossard and Marino, who have both played as the number 9 for Arsenal, that's not putting the foot on the brakes. They're two attacking players. I think where he got it wrong, and it doesn't mean you had to put the foot on the brake, is that you put in 2 players that are probably similar in. Neither of them are blessed with pace, Trossard and Marino. They're not really that kind of going to go in behind, and it felt clunky. It didn't feel like it was a foot on the brake. It was Trossard and Marino both played up front for Arsenal, so you can't say they're defensive players. It just felt like it was you needed a little bit more pace to kind of change it up againte City. That's why I felt. It didn't feel like it was on the break. It just felt like it was the wrong tactic.
I wouldn't say Trossard are usually on the end of things rather than creative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say Trossard is a defensive. But I would go as far as saying as Mikel Merino is an offensive, even though he has played as a striker for us.
He's usually on the end of a header or on the end of a pass from somebody else. So
at the end of the day, all right, we salvaged the point. I wish we'd done more, because I think again we're just as good as them. I think what I was a little bit worried with is that Saliba and Gabriel gave too much respect to Hurligard.
Haaland.
The reason why I'm saying that because is that because but they both were gonna. I don't know. I won't say they're double teaming him, but they were a little bit too far apart from each other. Knowing that Haaland, all he needs is a yard or two, and he's gone.
Gabriel didn't need to press that high.
No, he didn't. Exactly. Yes. No, he didn't.
And I think Saliba should have dropped. For me, Saliba was as much at 40. Like when you've got, no disrespect to Reinders, he's a fantastic player, but Reinders, if you let Reinders shoot from 30 yards, then so be it. But the fact he didn't drop when Haaland was making the run surprised me because he's a threat. He was the only ball. That was the only ball Reinders could play. Yeah. And the fact Saliba left him was unusual. If Saliba went with Haaland and Reinders went through the middle and scored, I had no problem with that because you're snuffing out the main danger. And if Reinders goes and beats David Raya from 20 yards, you go fair play. I thought it was a bad decision in the moment from Saliba not to follow Haaland, I have to say.
Okay.
Just a lapse of concentration.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just move on. Let's just move on to the Port Vale, the Carabao Cup. 2-0 to the Arsenal. Eze scoring his first goal, and Trossard scoring a late goal. Arsenal again had 78% possession in the first half, controlled the game. Took a while to score. But looked strong. Jake, is this a sign of a good squad in depth?
I think so. I don't know what Adam thinks, but I think it was pretty much a training game. I think after that Eze early goal, I just felt like we were just passing it about. I thought I was quite surprised in Port Vale didn't obviously go for it more, but I think that's just the strength of our squad, to be honest. But yeah, I was nice and easy win to get us into the next round. It is showing the strength and depth we have got in our squad, that certain players are playing that we never expected to play in probably years gone by. So yeah, just very impressive. Glad that Eze got his first goal. Didn't think that did well for his confidence going into the next game. But yeah, all round professional job done.
Let me just ask you. I mean, because Adam, because Jake just hit it. Asked one of my other questions. Eze scored his first goal for Arsenal. How big is that for him?
Yeah, I think it's big in the fact of, he comes with a big price tag. He's expected to go and be a big signing. I don't think it really matters who it's against. You get off them running. I mentioned Florian Wirtz already. Wirtz at the moment, if one goes off in off his shin at the moment, the pressure goes off of him. Every game that ticks by when you're a big signing and you're not producing a goal or assist, I think again it's just people in this day and age. Football's become very numbers based. Everything about social media is now 2 games without goal and assist. What's the money on? People don't watch football for football now anymore. It's all about stats. And I think again, Eze's been great, but when it's backed up with goals and assists, it's just obviously that much bigger. And yeah, it did feel like it was like one of those ones he's off and running. And as I say, pleased for him because I say he deserved it.
Okay. And out of the in total, once again, percentage wise, what do you think out of 10, Jake?
Yeah, I think it was a fresh performance. I'd probably say it didn't blow me away. I think Port Vale didn't really offer much, so we didn't really have to get out of second gear. I'd say it was a 7 out of 10. I'd say.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah, similar, maybe a 6. I think. It's not a game that will live long in the memory, Jesus, and it wasn't a great watch, but it was professional. And I think where we underestimate how easy we're making these games look is, when you look back at some of the Carabao Cup games over the years, when we were 4-0 down at Reading about 10 years ago, we lost to Bradford in the semi-finals. We have come unstuck in these kind of tricky away games before, and at any point in that game do I think we were in trouble. And you look at what United did at Grimsby, and I think, as you say, the fact that we rested 5 or 6 players, possibly even more, got some minutes under the belt, and we never looked like we were ever in trouble, it is great, and it isn't to be underestimated because those upsets do happen, as Man United showed.
We shouldn't take these clean sheets for granted as well. Obviously, we conceded against Newcastle, but we are very, very, very strong at the back, so it stands us in good stead in every game.
Okay. I just want to say to everyone in the chat, please let us know what you think. Please let us know what you're thinking. What you'd like us to talk about. Tell us what. Do you agree with what we're talking about now? Let us know what you think. How Arsenal is doing. Are you happy with Arsenal right now? Are you happy? Do you think Arsenal's got the right mix? The depth is right. Are they moving in the right direction? Are you happy with the players? And which players are basically, which player is surprising you? Who's your most influential player at this moment in time? Please let us know in the comments as well. We're going to move on to the Newcastle game. I mean, again, for me, I was a little bit worried about that game, because obviously Newcastle is Arsenal's bogey side, and Newcastle are known to be to bully Arsenal. But it was really nice to see that the guys turn up. It was one big game. Arsenal beating Newcastle 2-1. Newcastle scoring the first goal. How do you say this guy's name? Is it
Voltemade?
Voltemade, yeah.
Voltemade?
Voltemade, yeah.
Yeah, Voltemade. Whatever. Sorry, mate. He scored the first one, and then you got Mourinho equalising late on for Arsenal, and then the special one came off. He didn't come off the bench. What did he come off the bench?
No,
did he? Was he?
No.
No, he came right. But no, of course, he never come off the bench. What am I talking about? I mean, Gabriel, that guy, honestly, he has got a bullet of a head. His head is a bullet. I mean, it's unbelievable. Arsenal had more possession in the second half. We won it. We won it at a set piece. Mental strength. Arsenal showed some really good mental strength, and that's what I liked about it, because Arsenal would have capitulated after they drew. Because there were certain times when Arsenal do get it's like the City game, because Arsenal got pelted for it, because when they equalised, there still might have been more time for them to go and get the second one. So I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but when Arsenal equalised against Newcastle, I mean, and they cheered, of course they did, but Declan Rice told them, let's go again. I just want to ask you, I'm going to ask you, Adam. What does this do? What does this do about Arsenal's character? What does it show about their character?
It's huge. I've been up to Newcastle a couple of times, and I've been to all the big grounds in this country. For me, Newcastle's as tough as anywhere, atmosphere-wise. I'd say it's as loud as anywhere you go. And when you go 1-0 down at Newcastle, it feels like a huge uphill battle. Not many teams go to Newcastle and go 1-0 down and win it. And I think when we went 1-0 down and we were playing well, you thought, oh no, it's Newcastle again. We've hardly scored there the last 3 seasons. We didn't score in 2 games out there last year. And Newcastle have shown, they won 4-0 in the Champions League the other night. They're defensively really solid. They're a good side to say that it's a tough place to go at any time. And I think the character was huge. And I think, as you said, when we got criticised for over-celebrating the equaliser against City and not pushing on for the winner. And, as you just said, when we equalised and we kind of ran back to halfway, like Mikel Arteta, you saw like putting up the 8 when we had the injury time and saying like, come on and win it. And it did feel like it was a massive statement. I remember when we won the league, in the early 2000s, and we won 2-1 at Anfield with 10 men. And it felt, I know it was a bit early in the season, but it felt like a statement win. It was like, we're not going to accept a 1-1 at Newcastle. And last year, even we'd have gone, 1-0 at Newcastle was okay. It felt like we have to go and win this. Especially after Liverpool dropped points, it felt like we have to capitalise and put pressure on them. And it was massive. And I think it was fully deserved. I think it was our best performance of the season. I thought we were brilliant. I think it's very rare, again, that Newcastle Newcastle fans and managers come out after and go, we were outplayed today at home. And it was like that. And it was a brilliant performance. It was very frustrating at 1-0 down because it was like, we're not getting what we deserve out of this game. I thought we were miles better than we were at home to City. And I thought it was a brilliant performance all round. And it was creative. There was big chances. We could have been 2-3-0 up in the first half. The one that Trossard should have scored where he hit the post. And there were some big chances. And we could have really put them to bed early. And if we'd have gone up to Newcastle and won 2 or 3-0, it really would have turned some heads, but I think it was a massive win.
Okay. Jake, I want to ask you this. Arsenal left it late. Sign of a weakness or sign of strength?
You've got to say sign of strength. I think what I've been most impressed with at most of our away games this season is the first 20, 30 minutes when the crowd's up, we've been in complete control. I know obviously we conceded against Newcastle against the run of play. But we seem to be going to away grounds and just shutting the fans up early doors by just dominating possession. And I think we'll have this chat a bit later about Eze and Odegaard, because I think Eze's performance against Newcastle probably gave Odegaard a rocket up the arse against Olympiacos, I think. Because Eze's performance against Newcastle was fantastic and he probably could have got a couple of goals if it weren't for Nick Pope. But I think that's again going back to the squad depth now, that when you come in, you have to perform. Otherwise, someone will come and take your place easily. And I think we spoke about it before, and we probably argued about it before about Eze being on the left and in the middle. But I think his performance against Newcastle in the middle of the park was fantastic, and he brought everyone else into play and made Gyökeres look a lot better. Obviously, Gyökeres was all over everywhere on that game, physical, strong, didn't moan, got back up after he was getting roughed up, just getting on with it. So yes, a sign of great character, and maybe a couple of years ago we might not have even got back into it. So,
Okay.
but I felt like we weren't out of it at all.
No, we weren't. Okay, but let me ask you. I'm just too quick, controversial. I'm going to ask you about the Arsenal one, Jake. Do you think that should have been a penalty against Pope? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because, there's a couple of points to it. One, I think if he doesn't get taken out, Gyökeres goes round and probably scores or sets up someone else to tap it in.
But they said that he touched the ball and the ball went to a different angle.
He did, but Saka could have then gotten. We had no advantage from that. Saka could have then got the ball and either tried to get it in, and it might have been a tight angle, or given it to someone else. I personally think so. We had no advantage of that. Gyökeres has played it off Pope rather than Pope playing the ball, I would say. So I think that was the difference. I think the ref saw that and then has bottled it when his mates have got on the fucking VAR. Because I don't think Pope's just had his foot there. It's not like he's gone to play the ball. This is where Gyökeres has been clever and a bit quicker than him and kicked it. Obviously tried to take it around him, but at that speed, it's not going to be. Everything's not going to be clean, and he's taken him clean out. It is a grey area. Don't get me wrong, but then, I don't think it's clear and obvious error for the VAR to step in. And I think when the ref's that close and he knows he's made that decision, I think he's got to stick with it. And I think
that's the key, isn't it? Just because you're being set for VAR, it doesn't mean
reaction. I think Pope's reaction, if you look at back and you look at Pope's reaction says it all. He knows it's a penalty, regardless if he's got the touch.
Yeah. Adam, but just because a referee is being sent to a VAR, it doesn't mean that he's got to change his decision, does it?
No, and as Jake said, it wasn't clear and obvious. They looked at it probably 6-7 times. I think anywhere on the pitch is a free kick. As Jake said, yes, Pope's got a touch on it, but his foot was pretty much planted. It flicked the top of his foot. It wasn't a clear touch. It deviated probably 6 inches to the left. Gyökeres may not put the ball in the back of the net, but he was still got to the ball without being cleaned out by Pope's knee, and that's why I think it was an incredible decision to overturn it. As I say, they're going to get away with it on the basis of the technicality that he's got touch on the ball. But you look at the Chelsea Man United one the week before, and I watched Howard Webb, try and claim Michael Owen. It was different, and it was.
You find him arrogant.
Yeah, but he was like that as a referee, Pat. Like, you know, he was always like that. It was all like kind of, you know, I'm officious. I know, you know, I can't be told.
Let me give you guys a quick thing. Do you remember the game when Arsenal play when Saliba headbutted who was it? Was it a Brighton player?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Same sort of thing. Exactly the same thing, but they gave a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, you know, like in the middle of the pitch, if you went round a player and it flicked their leg and they pulled you back a little bit at the same time, it would be a foul. You know, if you clean someone out as clearly as that, despite that you have a little bit of touch on the ball, for me, it's two different movements. And I don't see, like, yes, you might have got a slight touch in, but even when the touches come on the ball, he's then connected with him and taken him out. I don't know. I thought it was, you know, very harsh. And before the days of VAR, as Jake said, Pope didn't even complain about it. He knew that he'd been a bit rash, and he probably knew he got a little bit of a touch on him, but still need to clean Gyökeres out.
Okay, well, I don't want to be like
it's a good example because it's exactly the same. If you're going off the basis of that, the keeper's still got a touch, and then he's cleaned him out. So it's just.
I don't want people to think we're biased there, but what did you think about the Gabriel handball?
My heart was going. Sorry.
To be fair, I thought they were going to give it, but I think common sense. I think that is just common sense. If you've ever played football, it's common sense with that one. I think.
Okay,
but,
I was surprised. Professional. What you're saying, common sense. Why is that common sense? His arm was really up. It was higher than normal. So that's not common sense, is it?
He's coming, yeah, but it is. If you've played football, he's coming in to slide for the ball, so his arm is up there.
Yeah, but hello, come on. Your hands are somebody there, or your hands are there.
Then he's got away with it because the touch has come off his shin.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Adam? You're laughing like you know what I mean.
We got away with it. I think. I think it was. You're right. I think your hand can be in a natural position when you slide in from a distance. But I thought it'd be given. I thought for me it would have been an easy one to give. We'd have moaned about it, but it would have been an easy one to give, especially at a home ground. And my heart was in my mouth when the replays were happening. I really thought, we're in trouble there.
About that one.
Sorry, go mate.
Did Howard Webb say? I only watched the first bit about that. Howard Webb. I can't remember.
No, I don't think they covered it from what I saw. I only saw that bit. Didn't see that bit covered. But
they wouldn't cover the Arsenal bit, would they?
No. Yeah. But it was, I think we got away with it a little bit. I think, it was a 50-50 one. Yeah, you can walk going. I think the fact that his arm was almost fully extended made me worry. I have to say, I think Jake just kind of alluded to it. I didn't really see the touch of Gabriel. If it was a very slight touch. And I mean, I wasn't going to argue when they said, there's been a touch of Gabriel. You couldn't see it clearly.
Equally, no, you're right. I thought handball. I thought it was handball. That's it. They're going to give it. Give it. But when they turned around and said, "Oh no, the ball touched," I thought, "Yeah, the ball touched him."
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah.
What do you think about this Jared Gillett supposedly being a Liverpool fan? He can't do any Everton games, and he's done 4 of our games so far.
Say that again.
That referee,
is
apparently a Liverpool fan.
That referee is a Liverpool fan,
and he's done 4 of our games so far. He's been involved in 4 of our games so far. I don't think that.
That's not sad. That doesn't sound too good, does it? Okay, fine.
Yeah. And how many decisions have been overturned when they've sent the referee to the monitor? How many referees? I don't know. I'm asking this a general question. If has the referee ever said no? I'm going to stick with my original decision.
I've only seen it once. I've only ever seen it once, and you're right. It's like it just seems like a pointless exercise. It's like go to the monitor and we'll tell you what to do. Not have a look at it.
Exactly.
I think I've only seen it once where the referee's gone, "No, I'll stick to my own decision." I can't remember what game it was. It was last season, and it didn't involve Arsenal. Of course, it didn't. But it was. But you're right. It doesn't feel like it's like, "Oh, come and have a look at this ref and see if you still think it is." It's like, "Well, come and have a look at the monitor and we'll tell you why you're wrong." Basically,
it's embarrassing for the referee. Even it's a little boys' club. It's still embarrassing. But yeah. Anyway, great performance. I think Eze was unbelievable in the middle. As I said, I think that's done wonders for Odegaard as well because he knows he has to step up now. Gyökeres was a ball. Mate, Timber, I love Timber, mate. I go on about him every week, but He is
Yeah.
world class. I'm telling you.
We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about,
as far as I said, he's probably one of the best right backs we've had.
okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Don't keep jumping the gun.
I love him.
Okay, right. So here we right. So getting on to the Champions League. Unbelievable. Now, Arsenal beat Olympiacos 2-0. Early goal from Martinelli. We'll talk about that in a minute. And a late one from Saka. What I want to talk about a bit is about... Oh, no, okay, yeah. We'll talk... I don't want to jump the gun myself, but we'll talk about Odegaard's assist as well. Arsenal had 61% possession. XG nearly 2.5 to versus 0.7. Arsenal controlled the match. Of course they did. Jake, but I want to ask you, how big is it Martinelli's form right now? Because don't forget, he was. I mean, there was a lot of people literally down on him, getting rid of him, wanting him out in the summer. Do you know what I mean? He's not the right person. He's too slow. He's not doing it for us. How big is this for him right now?
I've said
everything that he's doing.
I've said a few times now. I think with Martinelli, I think he's built for the Champions League, and yeah, I think obviously he got that goal against Man City, which is brilliant for his confidence, and obviously I think he obviously the Bilbao goal was massive for him coming on straight away, and that is a perfect Martinelli goal, like we said last time. But yeah, I want to see him in those positions more and more, and yeah, when you're scoring goals, you can see it brings him so much confidence. And again, it's about Trossard can go there, Eze can go there. You've got to come on and you've got to take your chance. And every time he's doing that now, and being involved in goals and assists. And that's what we want from him. So yeah, it's good to see we're getting closer to having that old Martinelli back. So yeah, I'm happy for him. But yeah, I feel like he is suited for the. And I think I'm seeing now with Arteta's choices and with his starting lineups in certain European games and certain Prem games, he's getting to have certain players that he likes to play in those games in particular. And I think Martinelli is perfect for the Champions League for us.
Okay, Adam, what I'm going to ask you about is about Saka.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Saka's late goal. Can anyone stop this guy? Can he be stopped? Seriously.
You know what I liked about it yesterday? Like when Eze and Saka first came on, Saka went on the right and Eze went on the left, and then they swapped over. Have you noticed it about 10 minutes after?
Yes, I did, mate. Yeah.
And I think where I love Saka and Eze together is that the unpredictability of where you play them. Eze's now played on the right, left, and in the centre in the space of 3 games, and I think. Saka obviously started as a left back for us, and we had a little bit of talk. When Madueke hit a bit of form, we said, could Saka play on the left and could Madueke play on the right? And I think he's obviously trying a few different things out. And the last 2 seasons, if I'd have seen Saka play off the left at any point, you go, what's going on here? But now it's like you don't even question it. It's like there's an unpredictability to it, and that's how good Saka is. If you play him on the right, he looks dangerous. He cuts inside. If you play him on the left, he can go inside or outside. And that's where the goal came from yesterday. And he's. I was having this debate with someone recently. They were talking about, Madueke and, is Saka's place under threat. Now, I think Madueke's done very well, but Saka just produces numbers. He when he comes on, he scores, he produces, he gets assists. And, how rarely does Saka let you down, in a big game? He always does something you think, okay, he's got us over the line, or he's changed the game. And I think it's almost like, you just take him for granted now because he's been there 6 years, but he's still young and he always delivers, and that's why the fans love him.
Okay. Right. I want to ask both of you this because I think it's important. I think Martin Odegaard. I don't know if you guys saw, how he was playing. It was like the old Martinelli, Martin Odegaard. It's like he was like reborn. It was like the way he was running, the way he was tackling, the movement, the passes that he was doing on that night. It was like, yes, our captain is back. What'd you say, Jake? Or am I making this up?
No, he was best performance of the season from him. But it's like I said earlier, it's because I think he's got a big thing because Eze came on and did so well. against Newcastle. And he just knows no one's guaranteed a starting lineup. I know I said it before, and we had these arguments before about if Odegaard's fit, he starts. But yeah, maybe not now. Do you know? And I think Eze's performance was massive against Newcastle. I think let's give Odegaard a kick up the arse. And it was like the old Odegaard. He was getting on the ball, playing the right passes. I know you said earlier he was holding on to the ball a little bit long when Gyökeres had a bit of space, but he seemed to be making the right decisions a lot more. The way he was turning out of things, it was like old Odegaard, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, very impressive performance. But I think it is the competition that is going to hopefully win us this league, because all players got to know they got to come in and do a job.
What do you say, Adam?
Yeah, it started on Sunday. I mean, when Odegaard came on, the ball he played into Miles Lewis-Skelly on Sunday, that was an unbelievable pass. And that was Odegaard from 2 years ago. That was, when Odegaard was getting the kind of 10, 12 goals and 15 assists, it was like those are the balls he was playing in behind. And Gyökeres will start to learn those balls as well. And he released the ball a lot quicker yesterday, and he released it a lot quicker against Newcastle. And he changed the game when he came on at Newcastle as well, despite the fact we were playing well. He played that ball in for Lewis-Skelly, then he took the corner for the winner. And everything about Odegaard, it feels like the confidence has gone through him. And I've noticed again the last few games, he looks back to. I said on the podcast last season, remember, I said he looked a bit gaunt and he didn't look very strong. As you said a minute ago, he looked physically ready yesterday. He looked powerful. He was kind of dominating the ball and dominating the game. And yeah, it feels like he's come back. And I think with Gyökeres, I'm a big Havertz fan, as anyone will know that's kind of talked to me. But Havertz isn't someone that's going to spin in behind often. With Gyökeres, and he's making those runs in, the more that Odegaard plays him, and the more he realises that, I think he will get a lot of assists for Gyökeres.
One of you, someone, I think, I don't know who mentioned it, but there was a let me just get rid of. No, I'll keep it. It's too late. What they were saying when they interviewed him. Is it because you now worried about your position because now there's Eze, there's competition there, and he admitted it. Yes, we think about it. I think about it. I do have that in my head as well. So that in a way, it shows that's what Arsenal's been missing for years: competition in each position.
But the games are coming fast now that we're playing twice a week, so it's easy for Eze to come in and play 10. In the Prem, Odegaard comes in, plays 10, Champions League, and then they one of them has half an hour or 70 minutes. And do you know what I mean? I think Arteta's working it well at the minute. And yeah, to be fair, I put my hands up. Odegaard to come and change the game against Newcastle when he did come on. But it's just saying it. Look, we were all talking about Eze's performance, but for then Odegaard to come on and do what he did, it can only be a positive for us that that he's back to form, because he has had a little dip.
He's had a little dip, like you said. He's had a little dip, but do you feel now that the depth, every department Arsenal has, you guys are happy with?
Yeah, I was chatting to the guy next to me last night. We sits next to me in the season ticket said that at Arsenal, and we were chatting about. He was saying, a bit of rotation tonight, and I know the guy next to him was saying, I'm a bit worried. We've changed 5 or 6 players, but I said to him, I was like, if 6 months ago someone said to you, Ben White and Lewis-Skelly, your fullbacks tonight, you wouldn't have worried about it. And it's a weird situation where you make 5 or 6 changes and you go, oh, is it a little bit weaker? And you go, it's not really. It's a team we had 6 months ago. When we're making 5 or 6 changes and they're your fullbacks, it shouldn't be a massive worry. Califor, I think, as Jake said, Timber's been outstanding. Californi's been outstanding. And it shows you the strength in depth now that Ben White and Miles Lewis-Skelly can't really get a game in the league at this point. Mosquera comes in for a couple of games and you're not too concerned. I know obviously he made the error for the corner at Newcastle, but Saliba and Gabriel aren't guaranteed every game now. I thought they were, this time last year, I thought they would play the next 4 seasons together, like every single game. And now it's when you've got someone like your Saliba on the bench in some of these games, you're going, wow, this is the strength and depth you have in this squad now. Like we said a couple of weeks ago when Rice was on the bench for the Forest game. It's amazing now that you can afford to play, potentially kind of bench some of these players in Champions League games and big league games, and you're not that concerned.
100%.
So
I think Mosquera, I know he got pelters for that bad back pass, but that's the only thing he's done wrong. Do you know? He has been class. But yeah,
how refreshing it is to see though, Martin getting man of the match.
Yeah.
When was the last time? When could you remember? Anyone remember the last time he got man of the match for Arsenal?
I think it was probably early last season, to be honest, Pat. Like very early last season before the injury. As I say, I think 2 years ago, you probably had 5 or 6 of those, those trophies, like kind of, Premier League man of the match trophies. It has been a while, and he hasn't really stood out, but he did stand out there. And the 10 minutes he had at Newcastle, he stood out as well. And I said 2 years ago, I thought he was our best player, and I thought he made us tick. And I started a bit egg on my face last year when his form dipped. But when he's on it, I think everything about us is good.
To be fair, a couple of games on the bench, you're either going to come off it and you're going to sink or you're going to swim. And I think he has got that about him that he does dictate the game for us when he does come on. So
right. So big picture: 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw. Can't be bad. Are Arsenal on the right? Are they on the right track? Do we have the best squad or in the Premier League? That's it for today's show. I want to thank Adam and Jake for their insight and their inputs. Also, would like to thank you, the listeners. What I would like for you guys to do, if you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe, please like and share. Also, send us your thoughts for the next show. And the best ones we will either play or give a big shout out to. Until then, keep having the faith, keep backing the boys, and hopefully next week or this weekend, Arsenal against West Ham, we'll have some more exciting news. Take care.